Hi, it's August 2010. Dad takes me fishing with him to Sheep Creek Reservoir. This is on the beautiful Duck Valley Indian Reservation located on the Nevada-Idaho border, and it's home to the Shoshone-Paiute Indian tribe. Now after traveling, I don't know, 550 miles or so, I know the last 10 miles were down this dirt road. Then we turn right on the dirt road behind us here in this photo and go down about another, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile, turn left, and a couple hundred yards we'll be at the camp. Finally. Well, this is not quite our camp just yet. As it turns out, when we got here, there was another camper parked in the spot where Dad usually likes to park. So we kind of waited around. Well, Dad didn't wait very long before he got his fishing pole, and guess what? Caught the first fish. Next morning, this is Monday morning, got up. The lake is just gorgeous. It's flat, as you can see. Dad finally we got our camp, got everything set up. Dad's doing breakfast. Nothing like a good hearty breakfast before you set out to, do some good fishing. So that's what we're looking for, and all of a sudden now it's time to do some serious fishing. And don't let this photo fool you. It was hard work for Dad to get up and down all the time to get all the fish he got. And sometimes he wouldn't even make it back to his chair. Here's our camp. This is about a couple hundred feet away from it. Here's another photo. This one here is a couple hundred yards away from it. As you can see, there's hardly anybody around. In fact, there's nobody around. I didn't even see a squirrel or anything like that. That evening, the moon came up. It was almost full moon. There was a little chill in the air. We knew something was happening. And by nightfall, it got kind of chilly. Here I am sitting in front of the pickup, and the reason I'm sitting in front of the pickup is because the wind's blowing directly from behind me. The pickup is actually blocking the wind, and I'm sitting here eating a peach. No, this is a pear crisp. Marky made us a pear crisp as a dessert, so I'm sitting here eating some. The winds were up about 5-10 miles an hour, so what I was going to do was fly a kite. And fly a kite I did. So that was about it for that evening. Got a bit cold, went in the motorhome, went to bed. Next morning, as sun came up, Mel comes in. Mel is a local fish and game warden out here. He stopped by almost every morning and have a cup of coffee with us and talk about the weather and the fishing, and they just sit there and swap stories and everything. As you can see, the lake here was a bit calm. The only thing that was stirring out there was some pelicans. I said pelicans. There were quite a few pelicans out there. But beautiful creatures. Water was calm. Fish weren't biting, so we decided to take a ride up the road. Dad wanted to show me this ranch that was up the road called the Patan Ranch. This place is huge. From here you can see forever. And everything that you can see is the Patan Ranch. Beautiful pastures for their cattle. Beautiful cattle to eat the pasture. They're not only known for their cattle, they also into the horse racing business. One of the more famous horses that was raised here on the Patan Ranch is Secretariat. Some of you may have heard of him. I don't know. Anyway, time to go back to camp fishing. And fishing we did. That's our camp way off in the distance down there. And as soon as we got back, Dad was back hard, busy working, fishing, and catching fish, and catching more fish. He caught fish until the sun went down. And here's some of his fish right here. Now the sun's down, we got to clean the fish. Well, we cleaned the fish and filleted them. Next morning, the moon's going down in the distance. The sun's coming up from behind us. I walk around the side of the motorhome and discover that there's a flat tire on the pickup. Dad steps out of the motorhome and discovers he left some of his medication at home. So now we have to drive into town, not only get the flat tire fixed, but to go to the clinic and get his prescriptions filled. So we head on into town. I'm just showing you some pictures here to kill some time. So, because there's a good story here. We go into town. He goes to the clinic, meets the doctor at the clinic. They get the prescriptions. They have to transfer information. Talks with the doctor, invites the doctor out to go fishing with us. And you'll see later. So we decided to take a ride around. We had to leave there and come back in a little bit until the prescriptions were ready. So we stopped at the tribal headquarters. I finally learned how to use the payphones in this town. They're not easy to do. After making a phone call, Dad takes me out riding around. And here's just some open space that it's just beautiful. This is over by Mountain View Lake. After riding around out there, that's about another 20 miles, 25-mile drive just down the road. We come back to the clinic, and Dad goes back in to get his prescriptions now, and he talks with the pharmacist. I'm sitting in the parking lot out here, walking around, taking photographs of town, and this is looking out from the clinic. And open fields, beautiful fields of alfalfa, native grass, and just a gorgeous place. Well, Dad meets the pharmacist and invites him out. Here's Jimmy. Dad teaches him how he fishes. It didn't take Jimmy long to learn Dad's way of fishing. And that was a good thing because Jimmy did catch some fish. He was very happy about it. And the next day was like this. A little bit of chop on the water. And of course, here is my fish. I must say, it was the biggest fish, 2 pounds. Maybe not big by some standards, but my standards, it was pretty big. I'm going to linger on this picture for a few seconds because I think it's the only picture of me catching a fish. Okay. Anyway, here's just a little bit of the scenery as we look around the lake. Not a lot of trees out here. In fact, there's no trees. Lots of sagebrush, lots of open space, beautiful cliff bluffs. And here's our view from our camp. Well, we have that little red brick house sitting there, but you notice what? It's only red on one side. The other side is gray. Well, I'm there flying a kite. You can't see me, but I'm there, trust me. Back fishing. Well, we already caught our limit by this time. It's time to take a rest. I grabbed my camera, tripod, and here's just a couple of pictures that I snapped while walking around. Beautiful sagebrush, and the colors on the evening sunsets were just fantastic. One evening, a thunderstorm came by. The whole sky in the back went gray. The mountain was lit up by the sunset setting, and in front of us was the shadow of the mountain that the sun was going down behind. Just a beautiful lit up. I couldn't do it if I had lights. Mix sunlight and water, rainwater, and you get a rainbow. This was the rainbow that came with that same thunderstorm. Thunderstorm cleared out. Next morning, well, while it was a beautiful morning, it was a sad morning because this is Saturday morning. It was time for us to pack up and head back to California. But before we packed up, I must show you the gang that was there from right to left. On the far right, Jim Jones. He was the pharmacist, or is the pharmacist. Dr. Tim. And then right in the middle was Mel Blossom, the game warden, and Dad, and myself. So on the road, we stopped by Wild Horse Reservoir. They have showers there. We took a shower, and I snapped this shot off in the distance. You'll see that far, far hill mountain on the right. That's called Copper Mountain. That's up over 10,000 feet tall. Dad's been up there several times. I've been up there a couple of times myself, but That is one tough climb. So that kind of brings us to, well, you guessed it, the end. So there's not a whole lot to do but to say thank you, goodbye, and do the paperwork.